Hello and welcome to Mexicanish. Hola y bienvenidos a Mexicanish, su canal para aprender español. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about personal pronouns and regular verb conjugation in Spanish. Personal pronouns in Spanish are very easy. Here you have the list in English and the equivalent in Spanish. I'm going to read it for you one by one. Yo, this pronoun in particular is it might change depending on the region, on the Spanish variety. Many people may pronounce it as well as yo or as yo. The next one is tú. He means él in Spanish. She is ella. We don't have a direct equivalent to it. However, we have a polite form of to say you, which is actually which is a third person singular. Usted mostly used in Latin America, and not that really used it in Spain. We is nosotros, you, ustedes, and they. We have two forms, and the masculine form ellos and the feminine form ellas. As I told you, usted is the formal way of formal polite way to say you. We're gonna discover more about that in the following lessons. The pronoun can be omit in Spanish. That's why it's important to know the conjugation of the verb, because the conjugation by itself is gonna tell you who are you talking about. The subject can be dropped. Many native speakers always drop the pronoun. It's used. The pronoun is used when you want to emphasize something, maybe. In the phrase, for example, yo soy mexicano, which means I am Mexican. You can just say soy mexicano. However, if you want to emphasize that it's you who is Mexican and not anyone else, you can say yo soy mexicano to put more emphasis on the subject. But most of the time, the conjugation of the verb is going to indicate who are you talking about. That's why we are going to be talking about today about conjugation. But first, I'd like to show you a comparative scheme between conjugation in some varieties of Spanish. In Mexico, we have the pronouns él, ella, usted, nosotros. Ustedes is the plural form of usted is technically the third person of plural. That's why I put it here. We don't have a second person plural. However, in use, we use usted as a second person of plural. Don't put that much attention in this characteristics, in this particularity. It's just to make a comparison between Mexican Spanish and Spanish from another varieties. For example, Spanish from Spain, they do have a second person plural, which is vosotros, and there is conjugation associated to that person, to vosotros. They have the same. For the rest, it's the same as in Mexico. Como, comes, come, comemos. Coméis is the conjugation for vosotros, and ellos or ellas, I forgot to write down ellas, is also common, like in Mexico. In other varieties where they have the voceo, this linguistic phenomenon in which tú is substituted by vos, there is also a different conjugation associated to that pronoun. So in Argentina, you're gonna listen to some varieties of Spanish. Not everyone in Argentina use it, but most of them, I said, or in other South American countries like Uruguay, this voz tends to put an accent at the end of the conjugation. So for and say, and they pronounce yo in a different way, as I said you before. They pronounce yo como, vos comés. So they sometimes drop the e at the end, the s at the end. Sorry. But in this channel, especially, we're gonna be speaking about conjugation in Mexico. It's very important for you to notice that most native speakers, I just write here an approximative 95%, probably 99% of native speakers are able to understand the other varieties conjugations. That means no matter where you are in Mexico, Spain, or Argentina, if you use one of these varieties or the less common varieties, you're going to be understood. There's probably some people that hasn't been exposed to content from other countries, but that'd be a really an exception. So don't be afraid of learning the wrong variety of Spanish, because there's no wrong variety of Spanish, and Spanish is the same language. Is all the speakers can understand you. There are probably going to be changes in vocabulary in Spain and in South America, and those are going to be really important. But the basics, the grammar, like conjugation, that changes a bit. It can be understood from all the speakers. So let's get into the topic. There are 3 conjugations in Spanish. The first one is the one that contains most of the verbs. Here you have a verb, for example, saltar, which means to jump in English, and you are going to have the conjugations. I'm going to read it for you, and feel free to repeat after me if you feel it. Yo salto, tú saltas, él, ella, usted salta, nosotros saltamos, ustedes saltan, ellos saltan. You can see that there's at the beginning of the word, the stem of the word remains the same, and is the ending of the word that is going to change. And that is what is going to indicate you who are you talking about. As you see, all the endings are different except for the last 2. In this case, most of the time the context is going to help you figure out who are you talking about. So don't worry for that either. The second conjugation is for the verbs ending in er, like comer, to eat in English. For the first person singular, yo, all the verbs are always going to end in o. Yo como, tú comes, él, ella, usted come, nosotros comemos, ustedes comen, ellos comen. You can notice that only the vowel is changing. We have an E instead of an A. For the rest, all the endings are the same. The third conjugation is for the verbs ending in IR, like the verb vivir, to live. This is a less extensive category of verbs. Most of these verbs are irregular in the present. In this case, the verb vivir is a regular verb. And there's not that many changes between the third and the second conjugation, as you see here. Yo vivo, tú vives, él, ella, usted vive. The conjugations are the same between the second and third conjugation. Is in the first person of the plural, and when we introduce an I instead of an ni. Nosotros vivimos, and for the rest is exactly the same as the second conjugation. Ustedes viven, ellos viven. And that's pretty much it. I suggest you to do some exercises or repeat it. Learning by heart the endings is probably not a good idea. Instead, try to do some phrases. Let's do some exercises. Ejercicios en Spanish. The verb bailar means to dance in English. Tú bailas. Ustedes bailan. Aprender means to learn. Él aprende. Nosotros aprendemos. Okay? Homework, tarea. Please write in the comments these phrases, yo, viv, and the ending for the first person of the singular. And after that, write the city you live in and in the comments. And if you feel like doing it, write another example phrase like ella vive, the ending here, and then a place, a city of a country. And that's it for today's lesson. I hope you like it. I hope to see your homework down in the comments. Don't forget to share and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.